now I'm going to be telling people more things that I truly believe they have done. So I'm not going to get into specifics yet. But essentially, there was a family member who I thought that my ex-narc actually liked. We visited a few times, and she liked me. And I actually went ziplining with her. I went out with her a few times. And so, having known her, and we got along well, this story becomes all the more strange. So basically, my ex-narc's parents, they were never that interested in seeing the grandkids. They would want to see them for like holiday dinners or to make cookies, to take pictures. So it was basically like a photo shoot. They hardly saw the kids at all and weren't really interested in spending time with them. This is the truth. My dad was always wanting to spend time with them. And my mom didn't so much because she didn't like messes and stuff like that. So maybe my mom and my ex-narc's parents weren't really interested in visiting with the grandkids, which were my daughters. It's funny now that I'm the bad guy. But anyways, they were all narcs. Jezebels, different spirits, demons. So it makes sense that they didn't have this desire to spend time with family in the same regard. But what was so odd is that when my ex-narc's aunt had come down with cancer, then his parents welcomed her in and they were going to take care of her, in her last years, help nurse her back to health. But that's not what happened. And actually, what's very suspicious is they didn't tell me that she was there. And I didn't even notice, since I didn't see them that much, and they weren't that interested in visiting the grandkids. I didn't even really notice that they didn't invite us over in a year. So, they brought the ex-narc's aunt in to live in the house. She had had chemo and all that, and they were going to nurse her back to health and take good care of her. This whole time, no one told me once that she was there, even though we liked each other, and I would have liked to visit her. I only found out about this after she died. When I went over, it had been more than a year, but I wasn't really paying much attention to it. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, it's been so long since you've been over. We've had such and such over here because she had cancer and she was dying." And of course, the entire insurance payout went to them. And the rest of the family accused them of stealing the money. So I can see clearly what's going on here, as well as many other people. My ex-narc was poisoning my food. And a lot of this stuff, I believe, was just regular pharmaceutical drugs that caused like bad effects, like made me tired or things like that. I do believe he put something toxic and deadly in a supplement that was just for me after the children moved out. So he was affecting my health, but I survived. And knowing this, it made me consider things that I thought were just probably unlikely. That if he was willing to poison me, and of course the police won't test anything. That's the state of our country. The police won't test to make sure someone hasn't tried to kill you. You can tell them, you can give them something, they won't check it. So they didn't tell me when she was there, even though I would have liked to visit her. I would have liked to come and say hello before she died, maybe bring some flowers or a gift or talk to her. But I found out after she died that she had been there. And they also mentioned how the rest of the family was mad at them and accused them of stealing the inheritance. But maybe they did, because the inheritance was supposed to be split amongst the few family members that were left. And all of it ended up going to the ex-narc's parents. And I believe they used this for a trip to France, which they invited me on. It's the only trip I had ever been too with them, and it wasn't too bad. Um, it could have been better. There were some strange things that happened during that trip I don't need to get into. But if my ex-narc was poisoning me, then what might this narc family have done to my ex-narc's aunt who was dying of cancer? And it would be so easy to take care of her because she already had cancer and she had a death sentence. But she might have survived. Maybe they helped her die sooner. Maybe they helped her die quicker. Or maybe they did nothing at all, but they forged her signature on the insurance documents. But if that was the only thing they did, then why was I not informed? Why did no one tell me she was there? Why was she kept away from the entire family, like no one could contact her or see her or talk to her for this year? That's very suspicious. That reminds me of like Misery, where they're keeping her secret until she's dead. Like, what were they possibly doing to her during this year if she wasn't able to see anybody to tell them what was going on? And I wonder what else possibly might have been done over the years. Now, this came into my mind right before the first negotiation. I recalled this. And I thought it was odd at the time. But I thought, of course, they wouldn't try to kill her. And you know what? She could have assigned her inheritance over to them because they took care of her. But then I saw that they were narcs too. And I understand that they don't have empathy and compassion. It's only selfishness. So they could not truly care for her. The motive could only be superficial. It could only be self-serving. And I hope that they didn't kill her and that they only signed the inheritance over to them. And I guess it is possible that she chose to do that herself. You know, but as I said, if that's the case, then why did the whole rest of the family say they stole it? If that's the case, why did no one tell me so I couldn't go visit? The kids and I would have liked to see her. We had visited her before and went out with her. But it was like some big secret that she was there for a year. Very suspicious. I believe they killed her and they stole the money. End of story.